What's up guys? So back in March I made a video talking about some features that I would like to see return in Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, but in that video I left out a very specific feature from the original Gen 4 games, the Pokétch, or Pokétch, because at the time I wasn't really sure how it would work, since the Switch doesn't exactly have a bottom screen like the Nintendo DS did. And to be honest with you, I couldn't think of a single way that it could possibly work at the time, but obviously by now I have. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about 3 different ways that I think ILCA could implement the Pokétch into the Sinnoh remakes. And before we continue, I just want to clarify so there is no confusion that this isn't based on any leaks. It really is just me purely speculating what the Pokétch might end up looking like in BDSP. And hopefully we will find out exactly how it does end up working in the Pokémon Presents that is rumored to come before E3. And as you know, E3 is right around the corner, so obviously it'll be pretty soon. And assuming that Megas are going to be returning in Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, I'm sure the Pokétch will possibly have a function to help with Mega evolving in some form or another, even if it is something as simple as being the housing unit for the Keystone. Though considering that Lucas and Dawn both have bracelets on their opposite arm, that could just be wishful thinking, but honestly, who really knows? So, personally, I think there are a handful of ways that they could implement the Pokétch into the remakes. The first of which is probably exactly what we are all assuming it'll end up being like, which is just another button in the menu that we can press and go through all of the apps accordingly, similar to the Pokemon Camp in Sword and Shield, and maybe they will even spice it up just a little bit by making the Pokétch work as the YCOM function of the game, which I think would be a fun little spin on it. But honestly, I'm not entirely sure how fun or interesting that would end up being, unless there are a few more apps that they implement that function as little mini games, so we could play with other people from either around the world or just a friend that you were sitting next to. So the next two are a little more than just an extra menu option. So next up is it basically acting as a little mini map in one of the corners of the screen. I honestly really hope they end up doing that with it, especially since none of the Pokemon will be popping up all over your screen in the overworld like in Let's Go or Sword and Shield. So honestly, I wouldn't really mind having a portion of my screen covered by the Pokétch, since nothing else will be popping up in there anyways. And for the percentage of you guys that don't want a little mini map in your screen, of course you will be able to toggle it on and off, just like in the original Gen 4 games. And also, since most Switch games make use of the touchscreen in one way or another, I would like to be able to just tap the touchscreen to change the apps, and alternatively, you could use the bumpers to switch between the apps if you have your Switch hooked up to the TV or are just too lazy to tap the screen. And finally, since ILCA is a mobile app company, I think an absolutely insane yet amazing idea is for them to make a Pokétch app for our phones that function as a companion app similar to, say, Titanfall, GTA 5, or Battlefield 4's companion apps. And obviously that app will pair with our Switches similar to Pokemon Go and Let's Go. Ideally, we could just use our phones to mess around with all of the apps on the Pokétch instead of having it up in a menu on our Switch. And I think it goes without saying, but having the Pokétch as a downloadable app not only makes it a little bit more convenient, but also allows a lot more freedom and creativity when it comes to the things you could do on that app. And one thing that I think wouldn't necessarily be impossible to do with it is a feature that functions similarly to the Pokéwalker from Heart Gold and Soul Silver. And it is also another Gen 4 gimmick that I'm sure plenty of fans would love to see return in one form or another. And I know for me personally, though I might not be that excited for BDSP, even if Megas don't end up returning, off the back of that inclusion alone, it would easily become one of my favorite games in this entire franchise. And with that being said, for those of you who aren't absolute boomers and either have no idea what I'm talking about or don't remember the Pokéwalker, it was essentially Pokemon Go before that was even a concept. It was a tiny little device that recorded every step that you took during the day, and you could obtain various wild Pokemon and items as you walked around with any Pokemon of your choosing. There were also a bunch of little mini games on it, and I remember doing nothing but playing with it every single day in middle school when we would run the track in PE. I personally think that the Pokemon Company company is absolutely insane for having yet to bring back this little gimmick, because I think it would be a huge nostalgia trip for everybody who played Heart Gold and Soul Silver back in the day. But enough of me reminiscing. Some additional stuff that I honestly think would be pretty interesting is if we had the option to view our entire team in 3D models instead of just these sprites, as well as being able to check your Pokemon's friendship in the similar way to the originals, a shiny hunting feature, so it can help you keep track of how your shiny hunting is going. And honestly, they could even add some quality of life features, such as letting you see your PC from your phone. And honestly, the possibilities are endless if they do make it a phone app. But with that being said, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, as well as what you think will actually end up happening with the Pokétch, and even ideas for apps that you would like to see them create or just update. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.